Hey everyone, crazy day in markets today. We finally got that drop. It seems very durable. Of course, we're going into Apple earnings. Anything can happen. I think we still get that end of year rally, but in the meantime, I hope this market doesn't go all August 5th on us and do one of those flash crash type thingies. I don't think it will. Just a reminder, everyone, of the disclaimer. So that anything we talk about today is for educational, entertainment, and information purposes only. Do not do any of these trades without looking into this, doing some paper trading, and most certainly checking with a financial advisor. I'm starting to stick my neck out a little bit again. I've added a little bit of the coin that I sold around 215. I'm adding back around 181, 182. I just sold some Meta puts here to at a very, very high level, 25. The vol's come down, but $25 for the 565. That's not too bad, but only because I don't mind owning Meta, right? I don't have a position right now, so I'm able to just kind of say, well, look, if it goes down a little bit more, I'm going to end up owning Meta at a good level. But what I wanted to show you today was I had this really great trade. If you guys have been following my show, in my newsletters, some of the things I've been tweeting about, I've laid this out every step of the way. I've detailed what I'm doing. So I'm going to show you some of those entries and exits here. But what I did was when I finally got out of this position at 597 yesterday, I got out of the second half of this position. What I did was I didn't want to miss out on the upside because I'm a big fan of this stock. And I was thinking that even though it has sort of been priced to perfection, maybe it could still jump a little bit. So I made about $12.50, maybe a little bit more, maybe almost $13 on the original structure that played it from 565 all the way to 597. Which was very, very fortunate. It happened very quickly, and it kind of incorporated the move that I was expecting on earnings. So I didn't think I had to wait for earnings, right? So I got most of that benefit right away or within a few days, but I still wanted to play that upside. So what I did was I added an upside call fly. Now, what I want to explain about this is that the call fly is a very unique way to play direction, but when volatility is high, it really, really works much better. So if volatility is low, there are other ways that you can play these things, and I'll be putting out videos on all these different ways to play things, but volatility really has a lot to do with it. I had a coaching student come to me a few weeks ago actually, and she said, my stock went down $10 and my puts didn't go up. I said, well, the vol was way, way too high. So you have to be aware of volatility levels. It's part of being an option trader is understanding where your edge is. If vol is very high, you do different things. If skew is very high, you do different things. So we have to kind of navigate within this very wide range of possibilities that dictate the environment that we're in. So very, very high vol, of course, going into earnings. That's how things work almost always. And so you can't just buy calls. If you just buy calls, say a 2-week call, a 1-month call, even a 2-month call, you're going to get really hurt on that Vega crush. We call that exposure to Vega, that exposure to volatility Vega. So you can, in a good piece of software, you're going to see a Vega column. You're going to have your other Greeks. You're going to have your delta, which is your essential exposure to the direction on this underlying gamma, and story for another day. Gamma is how quickly your delta is going to be moving. So, and then theta, of course, we all know because we're capturing theta when we're short options, we're spending money when we're long options. That's going to be a negative theta. And so when you have positive theta, you're going to be benefiting from that, right? So what happens is, and then your Vega, of course, is your exposure to a move up or down, an implied volatility. And the problem is when volatility is very high and you're playing direction, you could get really hurt. You could be right on the direction, but you could get really hurt on the implied volatility coming down. That's getting vague. I call that getting Vega'd. I don't like to get Vega'd. And there are many ways you can get Vega'd, which I'll talk about in other videos, but in this particular case, the best way to play one of the better ways to play it is by having that upside butterfly. So with the stock around 592, I put on this 610, 630, 650 fly, and I paid $1.98 for it. Now, what happened? Okay, the earnings came out. It was disappointing. The stock moved from 597 down to around 574 in the aftermarket. and then rallied all the way back to about 582 for the open. Now, one of the nice things about the butterfly is that it can maintain some value. Whereas if I just went out and I had bought, say, with the stock at 597, and I just gone in and bought the November 15th 620 calls, I might have paid $8 for those and they got crushed today, right? I'm just going to get absolutely hammered on those. They're not going to be worth nothing. They're still worth something, as you can see today, because we have a couple weeks left. We have some big events next week. So there's still some value in these things. But what's happened is, if you look at implied volatility, look what happened to it. It went from quite a high level, as it always does into earnings. Here's earnings, 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 earnings. So it gets low and then it ramps right back up into implied volatility. And by the way, that doesn't necessarily mean that option pricing is going up that much. It means that it's not necessarily going down. Actually, that's kind of a good topic for another day. It's for people to understand how implied volatility can work going into a big event. A lot of time it's just those options just aren't really going down, right? They're not going up, they're not going down, but with less time left, that reflects a higher implied volatility. Anyway, so crush today on that implied volatility. Now we're getting a big sell-off, so we're not getting down to these levels. Eventually we'll get back down into the sort of 40s and 50s on volatility on Meta. Right now we're down in the low 60s, but market's moving around. We've got some big events next week. But we got this Vega crush. So I want to show you what happened here is that the stock opened and then rallied back to around 586. I looked at my butterfly, and it was worth what I paid for it. It was worth $2. I paid $1.98. So I hammered it out at $2. So think about that. The stock was down about, what would that have been? 22.7. The stock was down about $4, $4 or $5. The butterfly hadn't moved. It was a directional play that was going to benefit from a jump up into, say, the 620 to 630 range. 620 to 640 range would have been decent for this trade, and short Vega. So you're going to get that. You're going to capture that Vega crush as well as that direction, which we call delta, right? You're going to benefit from delta because it's going up, but you're also going to benefit from negative Vega, because the volatility comes down. So you can win two ways with butterflies. I'm going to do another one of these videos for my McDonald's position, which was really, really cool as well. But what happened? Stock opened down a bit, rallied a little bit, and I got it out. It actually traded up to about 240. I could have actually made money on this position, even though the stock did not do what I thought it would do. The Vega crush bailed me out. I was bailed out by Vega, which is amazing. So with butterflies, you have this ability to kind of win in a couple of ways. They're not super, super long, right? That long position, that butterfly, wasn't going to make me a fortune. It's a slower delta, but I had it positioned at the no 15th level, which is, it's near term enough that I'm going to get more gamma, which means I'm going to get that volatility crush and I'm going to get a little bit better delta. If I position in a December or January, months away, then the butterfly is not going to do anything for you, right? It's not a very useful position when looking out too far. But shorter term, you're going to get the benefit of movement as well as the movement in implied volatility. So amazing. I can't, I thought this position, this extra butterfly, because I made about 1350 on this position, or 13 on the original position. I said, you know what, I'm going to just waste. I'm going to just bet $2 to see if I can make a little more money to the upside. And then I looked at it last night. It was trading terribly, and I said, boy, I guess I just threw that $2 out the window, which is fine. It was still a great trade overall, but I'm probably gonna lose maybe half my money. Like, you can salvage a lot with butterflies, usually, even if it goes against you. But when I was able to get my money out, that to me was a big win. So sometimes, if you're smart about things, if you understand options, if you understand volatility and how it reacts to movement and how your position is going to react to volatility moving around, you can really position yourself so that you make money on direction. And if things go the wrong way, in this case, you can see that you didn't really get too hurt. In fact, I didn't get hurt at all on direction. Now, I was willing to take $1 loss on those, which would have been fine. Overall, I would have made 14 something on this entire journey over the last couple of weeks, and that would have been great. But I was able to recoup my bad bet from last night, and that made this overall experience really great on Meta. So now it's come down. I just sold some puts in it. Sure, it can keep going down, but this is in my cash machine part of the portfolio, which we do in our community. If you're interested in the community, there should be. I'm letting in 5 people right now. You should be able to find a link down below my description. All sorts of other programs and things like that. But hopefully this was enlightening, illuminating. Hopefully you learned something here. If you have a question, just drop it down into the comments, and I'll try to get to that and help you out a little bit. Okay, so we'll see you guys next time, and safe trading into this big week next week. Bye bye.